You are trailing double digits behind former President Trump. He is facing 91 felony counts. Do you believe that the former president's legal troubles are the reason that you're still in this race?
Ooh, okay, that was Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, getting a little spicy in a very, very fun interview. And I say that it actually was fun with Ron DeSantis, which I know fun and Ron DeSantis don't always go together, but this one was. He was there being interviewed, and this was basically like, look, are you just kind of banking on the fact that maybe Trump will be arrested and that's why you're still in this race? Because your race is kind of losing steam. Here was his answer.
No, I mean, I think that had Alvin Bragg not politicized this back in April, I think probably the primary be looking different. I mean, I think that gave the former president more support. I think people felt that he was being treated unfairly, which he was in that circumstance. I mean, that I think has been a very important inflection point in this because it highlights the weaponization of justice by some of these left-wing prosecutors.
Okay, but what about your campaign? Because like, I wish he would have followed up and said, but don't you wish that he gets like jail time? And wouldn't it be crazy if like he still beats you from jail? That'd be crazy, like to have like a convict beat you running for president. How would you feel? Anyway, when I host Meet the Press, that'll be my question. There was also, this was fun, some pushback on Ron DeSantis as in his response to the Maine mass shooting, as he sort of, used it as a moment to tout his own state's lack of shootings. But is he honest? Is he correct about that? Take a look.
In Florida, our crime rate's at a 50-year low, and our violent crime rate's down 30% since I've been governor. So we're handling it strong.
Governor, actually, statistically speaking, the CDC says that the firearm mortality rate is actually higher under your administration than it was under your predecessor's administration. But I do want to move on to the campaign and just
the what mortality rate? No.
The firearm mortality rate.
Well, I don't. But.
Was actually higher under your administration than your predecessors. That's according to the CDC. Let me move on to the campaign, Governor.
Well, right, because you had COVID and all that stuff. Excess mortality, is that what you're saying? That went up everywhere in the country from 2020 on. Our excess mortality went up less than anybody.
The firearm mortality rate.
She really helped him out by moving on after that question. This is not the first time that Ron DeSantis in an interview mishears or doesn't hear or pretends his earpiece isn't working. He does not hear the question. Firearms, bro. We're not talking about excess mortality. The firearm statistics, and Kristen Welker's right. The CDC says in 2018, which was former Florida Governor Rick Scott's last year in office, firearm mortality rate was 12.9%. 2019, the year DeSantis took office, firearm mortality rate slightly decreased to 12.7, but in 2020 it jumped to 13.7 and then increased again to 14.1 in 2021. And yeah, COVID was going on then, but of course it's always blue states and cities that are like, oh, this city is rampant with crime and look at your firearm stats. And also, Senator, before we move on, like, he's still touting this crime statistic that we've also debunked as being completely bogus because he's not including different types of violent crime. I believe it's like theft, but that like armed robbery or like more violent crimes are separated out from that. I'm misremembering it, but that stat is also bogus.
Misery is his fuel. I mean, that's the only way that he is relevant. The more he can make it seem like misery prevails, then it lifts him up. I'm on Team Welker. I mean, she did that. I love when she said, actually, Welker did her thing that day. And yes, the man need to go ahead and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help him God. He is hanging on in this race, hoping, wishing, praying, salivating over, having private conversations in the hope that former President Donald J. Trump goes to prison. That is the only reason why this dude is still in this race. Hell, if you combine the polling numbers of all of the contenders combined, President Donald J. Trump is still light years ahead of these folks. So yeah, I know it might not be politically correct to say this, but I'm just gonna say what DeSantis is unwilling to say. The brother is holding on. I use the term brother loosely. He's holding on by a thread, hoping, praying. He probably is sending out all kinds of signals and stuff, in his prayers at night, praying that something happens.
Totally.
To Trump, because he is irrelevant as hell. The man is a weasel. I'm just gonna say.
Yes, he is.
Really is.
I mean that's beyond his looks.
Coward.
But no, it's true, and I think a lot. Look, the GOP, they're not fickle, but they might change tune, and as some of the other candidates drop out, there might be more funding available because apparently a lot of his funding sources have dried up. And things are getting very real for the former president as all of these co-conspirators, specifically in the Georgia RICO case, are folding and are now cooperating. The walls are closing in, and Ron DeSantis wants to be like, is it my turn yet? And Vivek Ramaswamy is like, no, it's my turn. Anyway, let's move on.
That's the only way either one of them will have a chance. That's the only way.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.